video clip here in a minute from CNBC with Joe Kernan and a couple of his cohorts talking about Ron Paul and gold bugs and other such issues. This type of clip is, you can turn your TV on every day and see something like this. It's kind of frustrating what our news media has become. Before we can put this in the proper context, though, we need to define a few terms that they're using and maybe introduce a few terms of our own. Joe uses the term gold bug derisively, and this has become popular over the last decade or so. Basically, it's rather ironic the way they're using it, because any thinking man has a very tough time belying the efficacy of the tenets espoused by gold bugs. In other words, they believe in honesty and integrity in our monetary system. They're from the Austrian school of economics primarily, as opposed to the Keynesian, which we're living under currently. The Keynesian, of course, is that governments should spend money they don't have, and that's the primary tenet. And in so doing, disguise inflation from the people, and the enabler of this is what's called a fiat currency. Fiat is when nothing backs the currency, therefore those who are printing the money can do so in a way that is not immediately apparent in the rising cost of goods. That's the key issue. Under a gold standard, inflation is immediately communicated to the people. So if you woke up and the cost of your eggs went up 20% overnight, an automobile, whatever, you're going to ask some questions. But when that same effect happens over a period of years, then, it's tantamount to the frog being boiled alive by slowly increasing the temperature of the water. Because this nation, with its spending spree and its phony fiat currency, is headed the way of the Roman Empire. I mean, any discerning eye looking at history can see that. But let's look to see some of the popular people involved with this fiat currency system. We don't have to start with Alan Greenspan, but that might be an interesting place to end up. But during World War II, the rise of Hitler and his regime, Hitler was very much in line with a non-gold bug philosophy. In fact, he wanted to fix the price, and he abhorred it because of its fiscal discipline. So you see, basically, we're living under a system that Hitler was very comfortable with monetarily. So this is a bedfellow of current apologists for Keynesian economics. For convenience, we have to introduce a term for those who espouse the niceties of a fiat system. I mean, they're calling people who believe in honesty and integrity gold bugs. Now, what should we call them? They like the green currency, and they believe in these principles. Let's grab what we can today. Let's not prepare for the future through fiscal discipline. What comes to mind? Well, squirrels, right? We've all heard the classic story of squirrels not gathering the nuts, etc., etc. Well, let's just call them green squirrels, okay? These are the people that benefit from this overspending. What has the overspending got us? We're hearing about the CDO crisis, the mortgage crisis. We're hearing, this is just the latest. And all these dislocations caused by a fiat monetary system. And these green squirrels, Joe Kernan and his crowd there at CNBC, market apologists, cheerleaders really, I mean that's their job, they cheerlead for Wall Street. So let's look at what the green squirrels have to say here, and then maybe provide a little post-analysis.
Basically, during a Q&A session with Bernanke, it was on the Hill, not a lot of A, more of the Q, all coming from the congressman, chastising the chairman for flooding the economy with too much money. Take a listen.
There's a dollar crisis out there, and people's money is being stolen. People who have saved, they're being robbed. I mean, if you have a devaluation of the dollar at 10%, people have been robbed at 10%. But how can you pursue this policy without addressing the subject that somebody's losing their wealth because of a weaker dollar, and it's going to lead to higher interest rates and a weaker economy? If somebody has their wealth in dollars...
Ron Paul is a physician by training. Of course, Bernanke's a PhD in his own right. But these tongue lashings, as USA Today calls them today, are not only getting a lot of attention, hundreds of thousands of hits on YouTube. He's raised more than $10 million in the fourth quarter. That's double what he raised in the third quarter. And it's the one thing that's getting him some press.
So he wanted the Fed to raise yesterday. He's yelling. He's criticizing Bernanke for being too easy with money, while the rest of the world. All right, so he's got 300,000 hits on YouTube. I figure he's got 50,000 hardcore supporters, so they've each watched it 6 times. These are the same people.
Let's stop it right here a minute and look at, think a little bit about what we just saw. Let's start with Joe's last remark, okay? He said the video got 300,000 hits by 50,000 people, each of which viewed it 6 times. Now, as far as I know, hits on YouTube are unique. So, where's he getting his information from? I mean, is he reporting the news to us here? There's other videos on Ron Paul that have gotten millions of hits. Are we hearing about that here? No. I mean, this is supposed to be news? Okay, the thing to notice here also is that this was not a real-time response to the remarks by Ron Paul. They chose the remarks that suited their purpose here. What about the setting? Okay, we have a young gentleman on the left, smiling, well-dressed, handsome, Joe leading the pack on the right, and in the center, we have a very handsome young woman, giggling, laughing, a very warm setting, okay? Presenting you with a position of ridiculing Ron Paul. This is a top-down effort, okay? This expresses the views of the station owners, the media owners. This is not news. This is a propaganda piece, plain and simple. I mean, you can choose to think otherwise, but, just look carefully. Look at the young lady. What does she add to this piece? I'll tell you what she adds. She adds to the setting. Now, in this clip, this is somewhat old, he mentions he's raised $10 million in this quarter, but frankly, with the December 16th fundraising event to coincide with the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, I believe he's up to $18 million. Notably, this money is being collected from individuals, not corporations. So it's symptomatic of a movement going on in this country. People are waking up, okay? Enough is enough.